rest of us get to have a holiday. Yeah, I've got to go. Okay, bye. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Drinks with Kate. Okay, so today, I don't know how this is going to go because all my support team has abandoned me. Jill and Richard have gone on holiday because they can, because we're allowed out now. We've been released from our cages. So Jill and Richard have run off to Gippsland with my sister and their granddaughter and son-in-law. Jeremy hasn't been able to join us tonight because he's got sick people in his family that he has to look after. Thanks, Shell. I know. So I was going to say, if you guys can just keep the dogs quiet and join in and drink, and no, the dogs will be fine. I've just had a bit of a chat to the dogs. They said that they're going to try and be really good, but sometimes a bark might pop out. Hi, Cutty. Hi, Kay. How you going? I know the sun is out. It's beautiful. It's even warm here, which is finally so lovely. Hi, Matt and Renee. Good to see you. Polly's here trying to join in, but she doesn't quite understand why. And just in case you were worried, hi, Craig. Hi, Rob. How you going? And Deb. Great to see you. Now, has everyone got their spicy food and has everyone managed to not eat it yet? These are the two important questions that I have to ask you. And also I have to tell you, he's just behind me now. The cat came back. He came back late on last Thursday night. Mum and Dad had given him up for gone, and they were quietly and sadly going to bed, and he came back. So that just goes to show that cats don't care about humans and humans care about cats. Hi, Rod and Sharpie. Good to see you. Lovely to see you. Now, dogs, quiet. Remember, It's going to be bedlam. Let's just cope with it. The cat's over there killing a peacock feather. The dogs are wrestling. Nice to see you, Karen. Yes, we were very pleased, Cutty, I've got to say, even though I was trying to be cool, calm and collected about it. He's a pretty sweet cat, so we're glad he came back. Alison, good to see you. So Pinot Gris, Devil Bend Creek Pinot Gris. Now, I know I didn't give you a lot of notice with the additional requirements for tonight, and it doesn't really matter. I think you should always bring a glass of water to tastings because it's very good for your palate. It's good for your head. Hey, Paul, how you going? Particularly at the moment when I don't know about the rest of you guys, but the pollen count is driving my hay fever insane, and I find drinking lots of water really helps to just kind of keep that under control as well. Don't know why. Pizza, perfect. Well done, Kate. Did I not say Indian food on Monday, Shell? I'm sorry. Well, maybe next time. We will do. I think we will have to do a session matching Pinot Gris and Pinot Noir to Indian food, which I think would be very lovely. Ben had a week off. Lovely. Oh, fish stew. That sounds delicious. Kuwaiti fish stew. Is that spicy? I hope it will be. Not too spicy though. Let's get this wine in the glass. Oh, did you bring it? I was talking actually, Shell, about your glass of milk because we're going to have a bit of a play with chili and wine and milk and water in a little bit. So, Devil Bend Creek Pinot Gris. There you go. That's what we're drinking tonight. And you can see that I've had this bottle in the fridge for a lot longer than I usually do. It's all nice and frosty. That's one of the reasons I think if you have a nice little fruity wine that's not too savoury, that you're planning to match to spicy food, a little bit of extra chill on it is not such a bad idea because the physical sensation of cold wine on a spicy palate is very pleasant. Right, 2019 Devil Bend Creek Pinot Gris. Now we're jumping the boat a little bit here because the 2019 is not available out in the shops yet. We are selling it at Cellar Door. We're getting towards the end of the 18, and we just thought, you know what, we'll let our distributors sell the rest of the 18 out to their restaurants and people who have been playing with it already. We'll move on to the 19 here. It's always lovely to try a fresh, new, young wine. But I will also, I guess it's a bit of a repetition, but when the wine's young, it will often be quite closed to start off with, so you need to give it some time in the glass to open up. So get it in the glass, give it a bit of a swirl, have a bit of a smell. Before I go any further, I hope Barry Sweeney is watching. I haven't seen you pop up on the chat yet, but I believe you had a birthday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Anyway, happy birthday, Barry. I think it was yesterday. One of our long-time watchers and early adapters to Drinks with Kate. So I think we should all toast Barry and say happy birthday. And anyone else who has a birthday when we're doing Drinks with Kate that want me to give them a little birthday call out, you just need to let me know beforehand. Cheers, Barry. So this is quite cold, so I'm hoping that, but it's quite a humid evening here at Moorooduc. Finally, we're getting some humid evenings. I'll be complaining about it being too hot very soon, I'm sure, but at the moment it's quite a novelty and rather nice. We also, I have to report, in the vineyard, we have flowering happening in the vineyard. I can't remember if that had started. Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow, Alison. Look at that. See, we'll get all our birthday greetings coming out now, which I think is really nice. You know, what's the point of having a birthday if you can't celebrate it with friends on YouTube Live? No, Penny, I still don't recommend the aerator with this wine. I'm sorry. You, by all means, go for it, but I would prefer for it to open up in the glass. One of the things about Moorooduc Estate wines is that so this is a 2019, we've just released it. There are lots of people who've been selling their 2019 Sauvignon Blancs and fruity Pinot Gris and Rieslings for quite some time. In fact, I've seen some 2020 Sauvignon Blancs and Rieslings out there. And if you're drinking a wine, if you're opening a wine that's only been in the bottle for 6 months, maybe, Penny, then perhaps you'd want to use your aerator for it. But this wine has had enough time in the bottle to kind of settle down, and it just, you know, I always think with those aerators, then you miss out on some of the journey of the wine if you whack it through there, because you sort of get halfway there. Kevin, that sounds yummy. Pork belly with a spicy rub. And Jeff, I'm glad to hear that you're here. My one and only Moorooduc Estate person who's, I think Dad said he was going to watch, so hopefully, Richard, you're watching and feeling guilty about leaving me here all on my own with crazy dogs and cats and peacocks. Not sure where the peacock is, but he'll probably turn up at some stage to say hi. Jeff, that sounds yummy. Dim sum with prawns and coconut. Yum, delicious. And also, there's a whole lot of birthdays in Jeff's family. I think it was Jeff's mum. Polly, shush, I'm trying to say happy birthday to people. It was Jeff's mum's birthday this week, so happy birthday to Jeff's mum. And Jeff's sister, I think, is also having a birthday sometime around now, and his daughter. So happy birthday to all of Jeff's family. That's enough birthday greetings for today. Actually, no, if anyone else wants to shout out, go for it. So, look, Karen, Jack's English aged cheddar would be quite delicious with this wine as well. I just thought, you know, it'd be quite fun to have a little play with some chili tonight. So on Monday, I suggested people maybe had some dim sum or a little bit of a curry or perhaps some spicy salami on a pizza or without a pizza. All of these things are good, but not essential to enjoying the wine tasting tonight. Hi, Sam and Paul. Good to see you. We've only just started. You missed all the birthdays, but that's okay. So nice frosty glass. Get that swirling around. Look at that beautiful colour. I think one of the wonderful things about, oh, yum, tacos, Paul. That sounds delicious. Pan-fried dumplings. I know. Well, Zach and Jack, I was going to make. We've got some gyoza in the freezer that actually belong to Jeremy. Come here, pussycat. Come and say hello to people. They want to know that you're okay. Come on, Jack. Come on. No, he doesn't like being picked up. He just likes to tease. Jeremy's got some dumplings in the freezer for his lunches when he forgets to bring lunch. So I think I might get stuck into them after this session because they're calling my name right now. Oh, Sam, whose birthday? Is it your birthday? Happy birthday to Samantha or perhaps Paul. We're all over the birthdays today. Mango, chili and oh, yum, Craig. That sounds delicious. Very tropical. Happy birthday, Sam. So what I was about to say about Pinot Gris is that it has this beautiful, we've talked about, because we've had the Pinot Gris on skins before, and we've talked about the fact that we have this beautiful colour in the skins. And what that translates to as a white wine, if you don't filter and fine all the colour out of it, which you can in the winemaking, we just like to use winemaking to polish the wine rather than to change it completely. So you can see as I get rid of all that lovely cold condensation, it's got a lovely sort of rose gold colour to it from those pink skins. It's already developed. Oh, hi Andrew, nice to see you. You've joined the tasting. How delightful. Oh, Penny, say happy birthday to your brother on Monday. Andrew, I'm not sure if you've got the Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris 2019 because I don't remember delivering it to you. But I hope you've got something appropriate in your glass. Polly, shut up. I'm talking. This could be all that happens tonight, me telling the dog to shut up and she doesn't listen. Anyway, so Devil Bean Creek Pinot Gris. The fruit comes from so we have hang on, let me get this right. We've got 3 vineyards that we get Pinot Gris from. Bouchard Val de Vilaine, not very Pinot Gris, but I'm sure it is absolutely delicious, Andrew, and completely appropriate for tonight. In a random group of 20. That's awesome, Rob. I like that. I like that a lot. I'll let everybody else read that. It's too long. So Pinot Gris, we source fruit from the garden vineyard, and I don't think Sue's going to be watching tonight because she's away as well. See, all my support team. Sue's been helping me feed the cats. She went off to play bridge with her girlfriends up in the country. Daryl might be watching. Anyway, if you're there, guys, hi. I'm surviving. So garden vineyard, Pinot Gris. We get Pinot Gris from the Osborne vineyard, and we get Pinot Gris from a new vineyard that we've started working with in the last couple of years, which is Duns Creek, which is a bit further to the south, a little bit up on the way up to Red Hill, not as high as some of those Red Hill vineyards, but we get some very different flavours. Now, the Duns Creek Pinot Gris pretty much goes to the Pinot Gris on skins now. And this wine and our estate Pinot Gris tend to share the Pinot Gris fruit from Osborne Vineyard and from the Garden Vineyard. What usually happens is the Osborne Vineyard Pinot Gris and maybe some Duns Creek Pinot Gris goes in here because we tend to get some more primary fruit characters from the fruit that comes off Osborne Vineyard. The Garden Vineyard Pinot Gris vines are a little bit older, and they give us some really lovely savouriness and depth and complexity, and we can do some more savoury things with that wine, which suits the estate style a little bit better. And you all know, all those of you who've been on this journey with me for a little while, I hate that word journey, you've been tasting with me for quite a while. Sorry, I fell into some slang for a little while there. You know that the Moorooduc Estate Pinot Gris is lovely young, but also ages amazingly well. And that was a very exciting discovery for us. This wine is not made to age. This wine is made to drink young and fresh and crunchy and delicious. And what we do to achieve that is that we do pick the fruit a little bit earlier. So it has a little bit more natural acidity, but it has less of that weight and fullness and complexity. The fruit character is more green pear, less yellow pear. We don't really see those kind of more complex quince characters, and we don't see the same sort of spice coming through on this wine as we do on the estate Pinot Gris. What we do see is a lovely, bright, juicy Polly, shh, stop it. A lovely, bright, juicy Pinot Gris with lots of pear fruit, a little bit of honey. That little honey note is really important when you're trying to find white wine to match with spicy food and chilies. That bright fruitedness and that little honey note is really important. You don't want to see any new oak because that's going to really fight with the chili. And you don't really want the wine to be too complex or too savoury because chili will beat wine up a little bit. So you need the wine to be quite straightforward and fresh and bright and juicy. So I have, for want of having anyone to cook me any food tonight, that's not true. It's all right. I'll have food later. It's fine. I was rushing around feeding dogs and cats and things like that. But I have some chili sauce here, which came with some dumplings that I might have had on the weekend. And I have some of Richard's bread. Not ideal, but it gives me something to scoop the chili sauce up with and chili sauce to bring chili to things. So hopefully you've all been very, very good and tasted your wine by itself first. Now we're going to have some chili. So get stuck into whatever you feel like. You can have just the chili sauce, just a little bit of chili, or have a bite of food with a nice bit of hotness to it. Hi, Margaret. I believe you had a birthday this week. Happy birthday. We're on birthdays this week. So chili, it's almost as good as a dumpling, to be perfectly honest, Richard's bread in chili sauce. And then have a sip of the wine. Now, my chili sauce is quite mild and it's quite salty and vinegary. So those flavours work really, really well, actually, with this wine. The fruit is a little subdued, but it's still coming through. The alcohol is not too high on this wine because alcohol and chili will kind of create a burning sensation. If you've got a stronger chili sauce than me, you might be finding that if the chili's already made your mouth hot, by putting, even though the wine is cold, because it's got alcohol in it, it will actually increase the burn of the chili. And I'm just getting that now. It's sort of retronasal. It happens after you've swallowed the wine. And it's just starting to kick in now. It makes you want to drink more wine. Now, that's fine, but it's also a very easy way to maybe drink a little bit more wine than you should have, perhaps too quickly when you're eating spicy food and drinking wine. So that's why I said have a glass of water with you, but even more importantly, you have your little glass of milk, because if your chili's really spicy and the wine and the chili are kind of, having a war in your mouth and your mouth is on fire and it's really hurting, water is not going to help. Water's good for helping with getting a bit thirsty, and it will help with just mild chili burn. So by all means, keep drinking your water. I always say drink water through eating and drinking wine all the time because it just makes you feel so much better the next day. But if you're already experiencing chili burn pain, have a sip of your milk or have a bit more chili. Have a bit more chili. I don't usually get to eat on screen. It's not very attractive, is it? Anyway, and then have a sip of milk. And swirl that milk around in your mouth so that it covers all of the bits of your mouth sorry, Polly's just got my makeup and is eating it. I'm going to have to go and confiscate it from her in a minute. Do that with the milk and then have another sip of the wine. I'll be back in a sec. What do you think you're doing? Hey, that's my makeup. Get out. Come on. Children. Hello, darling. You come to help, have you? All right, have a sip of the wine after you've had a sip of the milk. And the milk has neutralised the chili, and it's done the same thing that cheese will do when you eat cheese and drink wine. It makes the wine seem fruitier again. It makes the wine the creaminess of the milk kind of just softens the wine out and makes it look like a really different wine again. So has anyone, did you guys bring the milk to the tasting, or did you just go, oh, that's all too hard? I think it's really, really interesting. And yes, Michael, the Indians do, and lovely to see you, Michael. Haven't said hello to you yet tonight. The Indians do the same with yogurt or lassi or whatever they want to call it. I know, Penny, it does sound awful, and I don't recommend mixing them together, really, but we have wine and cheese all the time, and cheese is just solidified fermented milk. So it's the same thing. It's just dairy food with wine is very different from chili with wine. And when you get into trouble with chili, dairy is your friend. Unless you're dairy intolerant, then that could be slightly problematic. Tofu also helps if you're looking for something vegan or non-dairy to sort of counteract the chili. Plain tofu works really well to sort of help neutralize a chili burn. But if you drink water after chili, it can make the chili burn worse as well. So I try very hard not to eat stupidly spicy chili dishes because I can't cope with them. But it's something. It's quite interesting to see how it works. You're right, Alison. The milk makes it more fruity. It makes it feel softer and rounder. Okay, yeah, the capricciosa pizza with some chili powder, amazing. Have the milk, and it will change it completely. If you've got some cheese on your cheese board in front of you as well, that'll do the same thing. So if you have some chili and then have some cheese, you get that same neutralizing effect. If you have some chili and you have some yogurt, as we talked about, that will also work. So it's chili versus dairy. It's a cool thing to know. It's a good tool to have in your toolbox because every now and again we go a bit superhero on trying to eat something that maybe is a little bit too spicy for us, or we underestimate the spiciness level of certain foods that we order. I certainly do. And it's nice to know how to deal with, yes, Penny Camembert will do the job perfectly. Yes, Polly, hello. So, spicy pickle, Matt, would be delicious. Yeah. So all pretty cool. Now, I was going to say something else, but I keep getting barked at by dogs, so it keeps distracting me. Yes, Craig, I think mango's delicious, but even harder to match to wine when you put that kind of really sweet fruit character in there, which is, I think, often Thai food is very hard to Polly has had the makeup confiscated from her Michael, and she's now trying to get Frodo to play with her in a way that she appreciates. I'll show you if I can get the hang on a sec. Look, this is what I'm dealing with. Hey dogs, what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I think Thai food is particularly difficult to match to wine, and in fact, you'll notice that that Thailand doesn't really have a very strong wine tradition, because once you start throwing in really spicy food with that, balancing it with sweet and sour, and all the flavors are already in the food and the wine's got nothing to add, so it just kind of fights with the flavors in Thai food. It's possibly also one of the reasons that from a very young age, I've never been a huge fan of fruit sauces on meat. And the only exception to that is my mother. Yeah, correct, Matt. I think Riesling, particularly if it's got a little bit of residual sugar, works really well with Thai. And yes, Kay, I think Moscato is terrific with Thai as well. So you can find wines. And I was going to say that my mum used to when I was a kid, and she makes it every now and again when I remind her of it, makes this amazing pork and prune dish, which is pork medallions cooked in a cream and prune sauce. And it is absolutely incredible with Sauterne or other botrytized, very sweet wines. And the French will say that you should drink Sauterne, which is very sweet, botrytis affected Semillon Sauvignon Blanc. You should match it really with savoury flavours like roast chicken, with pork and prunes, all those things. It's much better than having it as a dessert wine. I think that's quite fun. Alison, it's much better than having it as a dessert wine. I think that's quite fun. Alison, duck and orange, just like I know it's a thing, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Duck with cherries, absolutely, works pretty well for me. And Kenneth, I agree, fish sauce. Fish sauce is very hard to match with wine, but dessert wine with Thai dessert. Yeah, I reckon when I'm in Thailand, I quite like drinking cocktails or beer. It works quite well. Thai food is great with an old fashioned, something like that. Works really, really well with spicy Thai food. And beer. Beer is great, and tea is great with, and Szechuan food as well. Lots and lots and lots of chili. Really hard to match to wine. Fantastic with tea. Just eat your food and drink your wine separately. Works quite well. Honeyish wines, Shell. So, well, apart from Moorooduc Estate, of course, you will find more of those sort of, I think a lot of Australian Pinot Gris actually will go quite well with spicy food, particularly from the Mornington Peninsula. They're more that slightly richer, sometimes with a little bit of residual sugar types of Pinot Gris. I'm about to sneeze, so excuse me. Hay fever's awesome. I also have to say, flowers from friends in England. I think I've been complaining to you guys for weeks that I was supposed to be in Italy for the last 2 weeks. And so we had a little virtual dinner together, and I sent them some Italian wine, and we all drank the same wine and we ate the same food over a 12-hour time difference. And they sent me these beautiful flowers. So the flowers today are courtesy of Karen and Andy and Sue and Richard. Hi guys, if you're watching, miss you. And Jill's roses were there, but they faded. So we'll get some more roses up for next week, because the rose garden is amazing. And any of you who are in Victoria at the moment and who can come down to Celador, it's a great time to come and visit, not only just to come and see us at Celador, but the gardens are looking amazing and the roses are outrageous. The vines are looking beautiful. It's just looking spectacular. We need people to come and admire it in real life. So where are we up to? Deb, are there any wines that compare with kimchi? Yeah, I think with kimchi you should stick with your Korean rice wine or sake. If you can't get Korean rice wine, Japanese rice wine's pretty good with those flavours as well. I don't know, Deb, have you tried this? Have you got some kimchi tonight? Are you trying it with the Pinot Gris? Because I reckon something like this Pinot Gris or a Riesling or a Moscato might work with kimchi, but I think it's a bit of a stretch. So I think culturally, wine and kimchi are kind of worst enemies. So anyway, you can keep experimenting. So Shell, yes. So other Mornington Peninsula Pinot Gris, yes, kimchi and beer, Andrew, correct. Who I was asking, Shell. Also, Alsace Pinot Gris will have those honeyed characters. You want probably one that's a dry or a Vendange Tardif style. Vendange Tardif means late harvest. Often it will have a little bit of residual sugar. It'll be a little bit richer, but sometimes they're a bit heavy for that sort of flavour. Nice. Chili jam on gyoza is pretty good with this one. But I think, Rob, you're right. It will be a bit too strong. But that's okay. We can't have wine with absolutely everything. I'm not a big fan of wine with chocolate either. Oh, look, Polly and Frodo have both decided to sit on the sofa. I might just sit in front of them in case they decide to do anything inappropriate. Alison, I'm totally with Andrew. I hate fruit and meat, except for that dish that I told you about that Mum made. But that's not to say that it's not something that people can do. And so, I think it's funny. I'll say something to people at a tasting or when I'm talking to them, or maybe even in this environment, and I say, I don't like this, and people go, oh, it must be wrong. It's not wrong. It's just not my personal preference. So if you are finding a food and wine matching that I've said doesn't works for you, then totally ignore me and go for it, because it's all about finding what you like and what makes you happy. And that's what I think this whole tasting wine, learning about wine, doing wine courses, talking about wine, all that stuff. That's all well and good. Pineapple on pizza, Kate, don't even go there. I can't possibly, no, sorry, pineapple on pizza is a big no for me. But I know a lot of people really like it. Penny loves chocolate with Shiraz. I get it. In South Africa, you couldn't get meat without fruit. Okay, well, look, different cultures do things differently. Rob, I'm glad to hear that the wine works with the kimchi. I think it can. It is Zach and Jack, and I have managed to not talk about politics very much at all on this channel, and I certainly haven't talked about religion, and I'm certainly not going to start now. So I think I think we can all stick with what we believe and what we know to be true for ourselves, and if we disagree, we can learn to disagree politely and respectfully. I think it's very good to discover what different people have intolerances for. And I can tell you right now, we won't be tasting any New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc in this forum, even when we have guest wines, because it's one wine that I just can't possibly do it. So that's okay. No pineapple on my pizza, no New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. They're two of the rules for this little tasting. If you're a chocolate lover and you want to find a really good wine to go with, see, we've started something here. We've started a big controversial conversation now. I can't remember what I was going to say now. I was going to say also, what a lovely week it has been. We've had beautiful weather. We've been allowed to go out to the country, so all of my support team has abandoned me and gone off on holiday. I think I will have a holiday myself one day soon. I hope all of you guys are enjoying your newfound freedom. I know those of you who are in New South Wales and in Queensland, it's all very boring because you've been free for months and months and months. But for us, for we Victorians, we are very, very excited to be allowed out and maybe a little bit frightened. I don't know, not speaking just for myself, but, you know, it's a little bit scary peeking out from behind the curtains and getting out into the world. I went to the city yesterday. It was fun, but I was ready to come home when I did. Kenneth, I agree. Pineapple on pizza is the same as olive in martini. It is very personal. And I like olives in my martinis, just in case anyone feels like making me a martini anytime soon. And that brings me to what are we going to do when we finished this box? Because we've got 3 more tastings to do. By the way, I have to say, I know I've been flashing my bling. This is my new ring that was given to me yesterday by my beautiful friend, Lynn Pilkington, who's a jeweller in the city in Melbourne. She made this herself. It's smoky quartz, and I'm totally in love with it. And it's totally inappropriate to be wearing at work, but it's pretty awesome. Anyway, so that's a little ad for Lynn. She's ace. She makes beautiful jewelry, and she does amazing, like, proper fancy diamonds and gold and everything. So she gave me this as a present. I've bought a ring from her, which I'll be able to show off to you guys in a couple of weeks. So watch this space. I bought myself a ring because I haven't been able to take myself on holiday, and I haven't been able to. I think we all deserve to celebrate with something, a nice bottle of wine, a piece of jewelry, maybe both, a bit of a dumpling every now and again. It's all good. Thanks, Kate. Bling, bling. Oh, Deb and Rob, you got back from Warrnambool at 6:01. That's awesome. Well, I said to Dad, I sent Dad a message because he's been sending me little bits of like work stuff, and I'm like, do you not know what a holiday is? Can you go and have a holiday? And then I sent him an email and said, are you going to be watching me at 6 o'clock? And he said, if I'm allowed to, but I might have more important social things to do. So, Dad, if you're watching, I think this is, for most of us, the most important social thing that we're all doing. No, Alison, I didn't buy myself diamonds. Don't get too excited. I work in the wine industry. I won't tell you what it is. I'll keep it as a surprise, and you can see it when I get it. It's being resized so that it fits on this finger, because that's my big fat finger, and that's the finger that I wanted a really beautiful ring for. Okay, so we've got 3 more weeks of tastings to go. Next week, what are we doing next week, Jeff? We've got Pinot Noir next week. It's a 2015 Moorooduc Estate Pinot Noir. That'll be fun. And that wine we really used up, again, like as with the Cabernet previously, we've used up almost all of the museum stock of the 2015 Estate Pinot Noir to taste with you guys. So I think that's really exciting and fun. But please don't ring me and say, can I buy 5 cases? Because we don't have 5 cases left. But it's really nice to have a chance to look at wines. And 15 was a really beautiful vintage. It'll be really interesting to see how it's looking with a little bit of bottle age. And then the following week, we're doing another Pinot Noir, which is the new release 2019 Devil Bean Creek Pinot Noir. So back to our lovely fruity thing. And what we might do then, we'll have a look at maybe some Indian food with that Pinot Noir, and I'll give you a couple of suggestions of dishes that you might want to match to that wine. So that's in 2 weeks' time. We can revisit the spice thing with some vegetarian food as well. It's vegetarian Indian food. So I think that'll be really fun. So I'll do some homework for that and get back to you on that. And then the final week for this box is the first week of December, I believe. It might be the second week. Anyway, whenever it's the first week of December. And we're going to be looking at the 2 new release single vineyard Chardonnays from 2018. Now, we're releasing those to the wine club this weekend. So if you guys are in the wine club, you'll have got a little email from me about that. But you guys get a special tasting anyway of those 2 wines in December. We'll taste them together. And we will, I thought that could be sort of our Christmas breakup, but it is sort of a few weeks before Christmas. So if you guys want to get together on a couple more Thursday nights before Christmas, we can certainly come up with some themes, some ideas, maybe have a bottle of champagne, maybe have a martini. We will have a little break over Christmas, and then we'll reconvene in January, I reckon. So if people want to reconvene, I don't need much of a break, but you guys might need a break from me. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think we should have a champagne night. I think we should have maybe a martini night or some other sort of cocktail. I think that would be fun. And so if anyone wants to send me an email with their suggestions for how we finish out the year, then you know my email address. It's kate@moorooducestate.com.au, or just send it back to when you get the mail out from us, just send back your suggestions like you do. That sounds lovely. Champagne and oysters, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you now. I've managed to keep the dogs vaguely calm for the last few minutes, but I feel a new explosion about to happen. Yeah, there we go. Growling and barking. Cheers, Michael. That sounds very nice. But thank you very much, everyone. It's been lovely. Thank you for coming and joining me in my solitude. I've got this whole place to myself. We should be here having a party. One day soon we will do that. So have a lovely evening. Enjoy your spicy food. Enjoy your Pinot Gris. Have some milk if it gets too hot. We will talk champagne and we'll talk other things in December. But next week we'll have some Pinot Noir. So lovely to see you guys. Cheers. Take care.